All right. Good afternoon, everyone. And it's around 4:10 p.m. And I'm very excited to have this working session with you. And we're going to explore what we're going to be learning inside of my fellow Canadians. And so it's going to be a working session. So you're going to hear me and see me express in real time my plan for sharing as much knowledge and expertise and training programs with all Canadians. So it's going to be very exciting. And please be patient because I'm doing this in real time, but you can see that it's going to be an exciting time for my fellow Canadians. You can go and register at .org. So this is really just for Canadians. And so you have to be a Canadian citizen or um, a permanent resident or a resident in order to register. So at My Fellow Canadians, we're going to focus on the four key areas of success. Of course, we have money, and that includes wealth, right? Wealth, investing, etc. We have health. Wait, we have health. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put health, relationships, and of course, this includes love, but it goes beyond love, the romantic relationship that you have or the marriage. So it goes beyond love. It's about relationships. How do you relate to other people? And finally, there's spirituality. Some people call it personal development, which is fine. So this is really the process of personal growth. All right. So, and the reason why I'm focusing on these four key areas, obviously, is that it doesn't take a genius to see and understand that these are kind of like the four pillars of a good life. And sometimes you might have money, but you don't have health. A lot of people have health, but they're not making good money, or they're making good money, but their relationships are not good. They don't have a social life. They don't have a special someone, etc. Or they don't have a family or a group of friends. And and sometimes when they even people who get to have all three, they're healthy, they are stable financially, and they're in a good relationship, and they are in harmony with other people. They do not have spirituality. They don't have personal development or a plan for personal development. So my fellow Canadians really is aiming at helping Canadians, 42 million Canadians, to achieve success in these four areas. And, of course, we have to, first of all, define what success is, because different people define success differently, and we have different levels. And there's no judgment, but you have to be mindful of the way that you define, these four areas. So for some people, sickness. But as we know, or, detectable or um, have symptoms, right? Because another person might define health as vitality. She feels alive when she wakes up in the morning. So that's a different definition of success. Probably this is better because no sickness, it's kind of like a passive definition. So it just, my point is that you have to be clear about how you define health. Other people might define wealth as vitality, but also, I'm doing sports or some, regular exercise like jogging. So that's a different definition of health. So I don't want to fall into the trap of just saying health and assume that everyone has the same definition of health. And in the same way, when we talk about money, some people define money as, I have a stable job. Although these days, with artificial intelligence, it's becoming very hard to put these two words together, because basically this is my opinion, my expert opinion after studying and researching AI for the last 10 years. It's kind of like an oxymoron, because if you have a job, it's not stable, right? Because a job can be done today by artificial intelligence. It's been proven with a GPT 5.2. And so stable job, I'm not sure. It's kind of like an oxymoron. So it's probably not a good way to define the words, I no longer need to work to cover my living expenses. And so this is it's not too bad. Financial freedom means that you have time every day. You don't have to report to anyone. You can, within reason, you can do whatever you want. Now, I have financial freedom, but I don't have geographical freedom. So that's a new definition I gave myself. Geographic freedom is that, at any time during the week, I can just, hop on a plane. I can just go to the airport with my suitcase and decide, what, tomorrow I'm going to be having breakfast in Paris, or I'm going to go to Asia and spend 2 weeks there. That's what I mean by geographical freedom. And fly anywhere on the planet. A civilized, a developed nation, hopefully. And so you can see that, I have like just one friend who has geographical freedom because he has a private jet, or he's doing some kind of timeshare. So he can hop on a plane and go to Florida during the winter. He can go anywhere. So this is really what I'm aiming for, because I already have financial freedom, right? So in a way, like for each of these 4 key areas, you can almost see it as a stairway. So if you have no sickness, that's level 1. But you want to have vitality, you want to feel alive, that's level 2. And maybe level 3 is you feel alive, but you're actually doing some sports. You're improving your body. Okay, so this is level 3. Here's something: money or wealth. First of all, you need a stable job, and I talk more about this. I'm going to mention later on in my live stream on mastering the money game. So I'm going to talk more about these 4 levels. But the first level is you need to have a job. Okay, you need something stable. It could be a freelancing gig, but you're paid, let's say, a retainer, $2,000, $3,000 every month. So it's got to be stable. It's got to be predictable. The second level is that you don't even have to work. You have financial freedom. So maybe before that, we can say we can have financial semi-freedom. So I like to use the word freedom, even though we have the prefix semi, because at least you know what you're aiming for. So this is not too bad. You have semi-freedom, means that you work only a few hours per week. So you're not too stressed. And stress is very important to monitor, because that can cause sickness, right? So these two are related together. And then we have relationships. First of all, you need to have friends, and we're going to help you as best we can to have friends. And so ideally, like one intimate friend. And it's not hard to have an intimate friend. Like, you just find someone, who's doing an activity that you enjoy doing, and you get to talk to the person. And if it clicks, you can hang out together. So when I say intimate, I don't mean like intimate. I mean like, just a buddy that you hang out with, like even if it's just a beer buddy, but it has to be someone who shares your values. Okay, that's very important. Or at least they share the same interest. But value is probably better, because if let's say you like to play, I don't know, chess, it's good. You're playing chess, you have similar interests, or you like to go biking, which is good. But it's even better if the person shares your values. Like I have a buddy, we share the same values about technology, about investing, especially Bitcoin. We have the same values about freedom. We want freedom. It's one of his key values, and it's one of my key values. And so you want to have at least one intimate friend. Usually one is enough. You might want to have like several close friends, and sometimes it can be siblings, as is my case. Sometimes it can be people at work, people that you can chat with. You talk about personal stuff, so that's not too bad. Another level is that you have this, I don't like to use the word special someone, because everyone you meet in life is special to you in some way, because if you pay close attention, the person is going to reflect to you something that you need to see outside of yourself. So I don't really like the word special, because it makes your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, it turns them into someone who's special, and therefore, you exclude other people. And this is something that's very important to be mindful of, because you can see sometimes in the news, the husband, um, uh, the wife is leaving the husband, and the husband is killing the whole family, or he's going to go on some kind of violent rampage. And that happens because the husband, he valued the woman too much, and she's the only person who matters in his life. So when she's gone, he goes berserk. He goes berserk because she was everything. And she was everything not because she is everything. Obviously, that's not possible. She was everything because she was the only person that he focused on, right? So instead, and if you want to avoid, any pain, and this is good for especially men, because when they go through a struggle, they tend to externalize the inner violence. So they become physically violent toward other people. Women, they tend to keep it inside. Women are usually not violent. They harm themselves, but men, they will oftentimes harm other people. And so it's important not to really treat the other person as a special someone to the exclusion of other people. That's my philosophy. I think that, you can have a special relationship with someone, you stay close to them, you might live with that person, be intimate, etc. But you still need to have like close friends, and, you have an intimate buddy. So a wife can have like a best friend. So, at least she can share stuff with her best friend, and her husband is not the only person who matters in her life. And so this is very important to play that balance. That's why, like, when I say relationships, I don't mean just love. I mean like every relationship you have in your life, and you have to pay attention. Sometimes, and it happened to me, you can be dating a woman, in my case, for a short period of time, and it didn't actually work out. But I was surprised that in the short time that we spent together, like, she revealed so many things about me that I didn't know. For example, maybe insecurity and the need for validation, etc. And she made me realize a lot of stuff about me, and I really needed her to be that person, to be the mirror, to reflect to me. So you can see that even in cases where I'm just like, casually dating or seriously dating a woman, and we never got to become like, girlfriend, boyfriend, even in those quote unquote unsuccessful attempts. They're not unsuccessful, by the way, but, to the eyes of the world, it might have been unsuccessful because they might think, hey, Peter has been dating this woman, but, they're not together. But at the same time, I can even say that that dating period has revealed to me more things than other relationships where I was actually, intimate with a woman. So you really just cannot judge, and I advise people not to try to find, the so-called soulmate, because then it's like as if you're ignoring everybody else who shows up. And this is something we're going to learn. Every person who shows up in your life, every event, every even apparently negative event, it shows up to serve you. And so if you think of my soulmate, where is my soulmate? You go on dating sites, Tinder, Facebook also already have a dating application, and you're looking for that soulmate. And while your eyes are searching for that soulmate, you completely ignore everyone else who shows up. And by the way, this is why I recently created Soloversity, which is a university for single people. So I like the name Soloversity, and it's going to be available in French as well, in Quebec. Mostly it's called Soloversité. So that's what I want to do. Soloversity is just to help people with relationships, friendships, love. And this is my contribution. Now, I have no idea if it's going to work. I just don't care. It's something I like to do. I'm just going to launch it, and we'll see, what's going to happen. And I'm doing this because, my fellow Canadians is focused on the 4 key areas. So it wouldn't make sense for me to teach people about money, which is what I specialize in, and spirituality, which is what I specialize in, and then ignore relationships. Or I'm not going to ignore health, even though I'm not really a health expert. But I can tell you, for example, because, as a teacher, as one of the teachers at My Fellow Canadians, I really have to demonstrate my results. I mean, there's no way I can be a teacher unless I've successfully, have done it, So My Fellow Canadians, my mini claim to fame is that I was able to go from 170 to 160. And I can tell you all the details, and my brother Joe is kind of my coach. very wise guy. So I'm going to rely on Joe and also on other people and videos to teach you how to do intermittent fasting. It's not for everyone, but if you're a guy like me, um, and I'm going to describe my profile. So if you're a person like me, you can be a man or a woman. You can try intermittent fasting, and you're going to lose weight quite easily. Now it's up to you. You can try other methods like calorie counting. You can try uh, any method that works for you. If it doesn't work for you, well, don't be too proud. Don't let your ego stand in the way. Try a different method. I can tell you that I never tried intermittent fasting before, but when I tried it, I loved it. It's not just losing weight. I become sharper mentally. So you have to give yourself the freedom. If you've never tried it, try it. What's the worst that can happen? After 5 days, you can't stand it, let it go. But today I was talking to someone and she was saying that she has a fat liver. Well, the fat around your liver, I have to check this, but the fat around your liver, it's because there's fat, right? So if you do intermittent fasting, there's not going to be fat. So it's not just losing weight. Your organs are not going to be encumbered by, fat, which will, impair their functioning. Now, I'm not quite sure about that. This is what my brother Joe told me, so I have to do more research. Like if you have too much fat, does it restrict the proper functioning of your liver and your heart and your other vital organs? So I have to check that. But already just losing 20 pounds, it's something that I did. I can tell you all the details. I kept a detailed log of everything that I did. So a lot of people will say, it's not for me. Well, I tell them, how do you know it's not for you? Have you tried? If you tried and you don't like it, fine. But don't be stubborn. If you have a weight problem, just try it. And I don't guarantee success, but just try it. That's something you owe to yourself. And by the way, my fellow Canadians, to tell you the truth, it's all about self-love. Do you love yourself enough to join this totally free, okay, free online community? If you're Canadians, okay, I'm here for you. I'm here for the 42 million Canadians. That's what I'm here for. That's why I reserved this site. That's why I spend time writing the website. I have this YouTube channel. We have only 61 members, but it's going to grow very quickly because on LinkedIn, I have like 21,000 connections. And even if you're not Canadians, join anyways. But I serve mostly Canadians. We're going to have Zoom sessions on all of these four areas. Okay, so we're done with relationships. I have more to say, but let's talk about spirituality. A lot of people think that, Peter is going to talk about woo-woo stuff. No. Okay, again, you don't know what it is until you try it. So don't prejudge. A lot of people have a small life because they think that the limits of their world is the limits of their perception. So this is so important. Let me just comment a little bit on this. And this is super important, and I'm afraid that so many people who are not natural explorers, like even the explorers I know, sometimes they can have a closed mind without knowing that they have a closed mind. So you have this person, right? And this is her, and whatever she can perceive with her senses and with her intellect, which is based on what they've learned, their books, their education. So this is what she perceives. Okay, this is what she understands, her perception. But there's a whole world out there, okay? Like this is the world that she doesn't see, she doesn't know. It could be intermittent fasting, it could be jogging, it could be biking, it could be a bunch of stuff, but this is what she knows. We're going to represent it with a K. So when you propose something, an activity like A, it's not in her perception field, and she's going to say, no, A doesn't work. Or you propose a way for her to make money, but she doesn't have any experience with it, and so she's going to say, no, money, that cannot be the way. It's not for me. But how do you know it's not for you? So I would just invite people gently to keep an open mind, because I'm going to be teaching you, and other people I will recruit, teachers, experts. We're going to show you stuff with my fellow Canadians that you have no idea existed, but I need you to be a little bit open-minded, because that's the reason why you joined my fellow Canadians. You want more, you want better, you want the best life ever, the best life in regards to these four key areas. Okay, like for some people might be successful to a certain degree with these three, right? They have health, they have money, um, and they have a relationship, but they're lacking this. But if you don't see this page, then you're never going to know that you are lacking in this area. Now, I'm not saying that everyone needs to embark on personal development, spirituality. That's not my point. My point is that if you agree that these are the 4 key areas of life, if you agree, then we can be of service to you. But if in your case, and this is solely up to you, if you're the kind of person who says, look, Peter, I appreciate my fellow Canadians, but I'm in only because I want to make money. I just want money. Well, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you morally. If for you health is not a priority, the consequences later on will guide you, or maybe not. Maybe you're going to be fine. Maybe you're going to die early, but maybe that's your destiny. I just don't know. If for you, you want to remain single, you want freedom, you want relationships, you don't even want friends. You're kind of like a private person and a hermit. You don't want to go out. You don't want to see new people. You don't want to meet people. You don't like people. That's fine. I'm not going to judge you. If for you, spirituality is no good, it's woo-woo, you're more kind of like a scientific person, and for you, self-help, what a bunch of crap. It's not for you. That's fine. That's your decision. I'm not going to argue, because that's not what we're here for. We're here to offer help, resources, training programs, along these 4 areas which I've specialized in my life. So of course you need to know, like, what exactly does Peter know about these things. So like I said, I'm writing a book, and I'm gonna release it 1 chapter at a time, and so you get it for free. Mastering the Money Game. This is something I know how to do. I'm going to talk about the 4 levels of money mastery. I think my book is better than Tony Robbins, Master the Money Game. Anyway, I'm going to let you judge. But by the way, I was a big fan. I'm still a big fan, a disciple of Tony Robbins. So I learned a lot from him. I'm just kidding. Tony's book is great for investors, but my book is really for anyone who wants to start from scratch. So you go from level 1 and then you go all the way to level 4. I'm going to teach you exactly what you need to know. So this is where I really specialize in. Health, like I said, I just know intermittent fasting, and my food is very kind of healthy. I don't eat junk food. So at least, I can help you with that. And I do exercise. I walk like for 2-3 hours in the summer every day. So I walk a lot. I do biking too. Relationship, I'm still working on it. I have close friends. I have many friends. But that special someone, I'm currently creating this university. So I'm hoping to meet a lot of people. And at the same time, I'm going to be helping single men to meet women. But Solo University is really a place where single people can develop themselves, and they can become the best version of themselves. As they say, they invest in themselves. So Soloversity is not a university where it's not about dating. Okay, if you want dating, you go on Tinder, you go on Match.com, plentyoffish.com. There are tons of websites that do dating. We're really more about helping single people develop their skills, their knowledge, their personality, etc. In fact, at Soloversity, we're going to teach you these 4 key areas as well. And then finally, spirituality is something that I've engaged in probably for the last 20 years. So I'm going to share with you all the books I've read, all the spiritual practices that I engage in. It's not really religion, although I come from a Catholic background. My parents are very Catholic. My late father, very Catholic. So he taught me a lot about, the church and God and all of that. But I've moved from religion to spirituality. So I'm very excited to share with you my spiritual journey. And if it resonates with you, then I can share my books and my best practices. I'm currently engaged in a kind of Jedi training program. I call it Jedi because I'm training every day without fail, and I'm doing the exercises, and I'm becoming more peaceful. That's the thing that I think we should keep in mind, because these are concepts, right? Health, money, relationship, like what does it mean exactly? So we have to be clear about what we mean, and especially what we're looking for. So for example, in terms of spirituality, you can judge the process, the technique, the teachings based on the results that you're getting. So for example, I've read like tons of books, Sylvia Browne, Esther Hicks, Neil Donald Walsh, Eckhart Tolle, Conversations with God, Bashar, Seth Speaks, Todd, Michael Todd, Handbook for Miracle Workers. I even read the encyclical, because I'm Catholic, written by the late Catholic Pope, John Paul II. And I actually read what he wrote during the last Vatican congregation or something. So I know, his opinion. So I just to tell you, I've read like Deepak Chopra, Ken Wilber. I've read probably 20 or more spiritual books. But it's only when you start practicing that you really become spiritual. Anyways, the goal of my spiritual development is really peace. And these days I feel very peaceful. And, just as a thought experiment, like if tomorrow you take away everything that I own, you take away my money, you take away, I don't know, you take away my McGill University diploma, okay, and you erase it, like I no longer have a Bachelor of Commerce. But anyways, you take away my money, I still would be peaceful, because I understand something about life, about my mind, about my spirit, my soul, that I didn't understand before. And so that's what I'm telling you. Peace is not a little thing. When you have peace, it's almost like as if you have invulnerability. So when I talk about spiritual development, and some people call it personal development, but ultimately personal becomes spiritual. When I talk about peace and the goal of spirituality, once you come across spiritual teachings that give you peace, you know it. It's like if I ask you, hey, do you love your mom? Well, yeah, you do. But can you prove it? Well, no, you can't prove it. You feel it. Like, do you love your children unconditionally? Of course you do. If you're a father or mother, of course you do. Can you prove it? No, you can't. Right? But you know it. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. So the only way for me to help people who want the help in terms of spirituality is to ask them, do you want peace? It's a very simple question. It's a yes or no answer. If you want peace, right? Like if you have noisy neighbors, or if you're stressed, or if your husband or your wife stresses you, your children are stressing you because they're growing up and they're becoming teenagers, and you're going out of your mind. That's just the superficial symptoms. Do you want peace? If the answer is yes, I would invite you to join my spirituality workshops, where I will gently guide you. I will share with you exactly what I've done. In the same way, I'm not gonna force people to do intermittent fasting. I'm just gonna ask you, are you overweight? I mean, in Canada, we have like 33% of the population in Canada is over. No, wait, not overweight. They're obese. So obese is not a few extra pounds, okay? I'm 150 pounds. If I was 155, yeah, that's a few extra pounds. Obese is a medical condition, guys, okay? You're risking your life. Now, wouldn't it be crazy if you die in the next 5 or 10 years, and after 10 years, because of AI and the robotic revolution, we have the Star Trek economy? Wouldn't that be crazy that you die just before our civilization becomes like the Star Trek universe? I mean, so take care of your health, please. 30% people in Canada are obese. They're eating junk food. They don't know what they're eating. It's because the food industry, the pharmaceuticals, they're all lying to you. They have been brainwashing you, and people eat a breakfast. I don't need to eat a breakfast. Are you kidding? I don't need a breakfast. I need my 2 cups of coffee, and that's it. 30%, guys, that's like 12 million people. 12 million citizens that I can actually help. Now, of course, not all of them will go for intermittent fasting, but I'm telling you guys, give it a shot. If you haven't tried it, don't talk. Okay, try it and then talk to me. And the reason why I'm so aggressive is that I propose intermittent fasting to people, and right away they go, no, that's not for me. Don't be stupid. If you're overweight, try it. If you're a few extra pounds, you don't have to try it. But that's just my invitation to people, because I was like that before. I was intermittent fasting. What the hell is that? I don't need that. Yes, I need it. So anyways, that's just my my sales pitch. But I'm not even selling anything. I'm going to give it away to you for free. You can donate if you want. I'm going to write an ebook. I have videos already on intermittent fasting, exactly how I did it. So these are results. And there are other people who do even better than intermittent fasting. They do like Ironman, like the 10K jogging. They do I don't know, they switch to a vegan diet. Of course, I'm gonna invite those people because your health is really important. So I'm just one guy. I'm just the intermittent fasting guy. So all of this just to tell you that the resources, the help at My Fellow Canadians, it's gonna be extraordinary. Anyone in Canada or even outside of Canada who has been successful in any of these four areas, I will invite them to join and teach what they know. If you've been successful as an investor, whether it's NASDAQ or the MAG 7, the MAG 7, is that? Yeah, the MAG 7, or Bitcoin or real estate. If you've been successful with money, I want to interview you for the My Fellow Canadians YouTube channel. We're going to be live streaming 24 hours a day, like Ted Turner's CNN. Relationship. If I've met a lot of relationship coach and dating coach. They tend to be female on TikTok. I'm going to invite them. I'm going to share their TikTok videos on our channel, and of course, I'm going to promote them. So if you're a relationship coach, you help men meet women, you help women, fix themselves so that they become more attractive to men who will then commit to them. Well, I want to invite you. For example, one thing that I always knew, but this coach made it very clear. I just want to share it with you because just to show you that you can always learn. Like even in my case, I've been okay with relationships, not extraordinary, but I've learned from every relationship. So this relationship coach was saying that there's a point where women control access, and that's true. Like if you want to get into bed with a woman, like she's gonna say yes or no. She's the one decided. But you know what? There's another part to this equation. Men, okay, who are reliable, successful, not necessarily the alpha male, but who are reliable, successful, competent, who are mature, who are, let's say, educated, everything that women want. Suddenly, these men are scarce, and therefore, guess what? They have the power. It's a law of supply and demand. So if you're a guy, right, and you join one of our seminars on relationships, well, you got to build yourself to become the kind of man who is reliable, successful, competent, mature, educated, emotionally intelligent, and who is in control of his life. He has his own passion. Well, that is very scarce, okay? And therefore, you, as that kind of man, you have the power. So numerically or mathematically, what happens is that, let's say, for every man who is like that, okay, there's going to be, I don't know, and this is just an estimation, so don't take it seriously, but there might be like 20 or 50 females who are beautiful. And so can you imagine this guy, he can just review these 50 women, and he can select one. And that's the opposite of here when you're young and women control access. So let's say for every beautiful, and that's just superficial, by the way. You realize that when you grow a little bit older, it's that kind of beauty is just skin deep. It's kind of nice eye candy, but it doesn't really tell you what the character of the woman is all about. So you can have a beautiful woman, and then she's going to be harassed by let's say 50 men. And so if you're one of these 50 men who are replaceable because they are not this kind of successful men, and so the beautiful woman is going to have power. But guess what? Women age, right? And over time, it's the men who have the power. And the women who want a relationship with these men who are very scarce, they're going to have to compete for that guy. So if you're a man, you have to be that guy. So that's my message to men. Be that guy, okay? Be that guy that doesn't have to chase women because he is so valuable. He is so scarce. Women are going to chase after him, okay? That's what you want to be. So to be that guy, even that, I have a workshop for that, an ebook too. I talk about the 4 pillars of manhood. The 4 pillars, very simple. You have to become the man. You have to master the approach. There's a way to talk to women. You might be reliable, successful. You might be rich, competent, mature, all of that. But if you don't know how to approach a woman, it's going to turn her off. So the approach is like landing a plane. You got to know what you're doing. Otherwise, your plane is going to crash in front of her. Okay. So it takes some learning. And then you have the romance, because the dating phase, the courtship, you got to make it exciting. So I met one guy, very wise guy, said, being romantic is very simple. You're romantic if when the woman is in your presence, she finds herself in a different world. She finds herself in a different world. Now, it could be because of your conversation, because you know so much about culture, traveling, foods, etc. It could be because you actually take her to romantic places. Or it could be the way that you speak, the way that you hold her, the way that you do activities together. But the point is that you're romantic when the woman is with you. She feels like she's escaping from this dreary world. So that's the romance. And that involves like a certain skill set. You got to know your way around the city. You have to know what to talk to her about, how to talk to her, and so on and so forth. And the last one, of course, for men who are serious, and these men tend to be serious, right? They're looking for that one woman. Well, the last thing is the future. So if you want the woman to say yes to your proposal, obviously she has to see clearly, in your speech, in your behavior, in your apartment, she has to see that you have a future, number one, and that future includes her. So if you talk about the future, let's say you want to travel all over the world, or you want to build a business, or you want to, whatever it is that you want to do, she has to be able to envision herself being your wife in that future. What would be her role in that future? So these are the 4 pillars of manhood. And once you master these 4 pillars, then you're going to be that guy. You're going to be that guy who has all these 4 pillars. You're very solid. And in a way, it's like you're going to be a giant tree. And under your tree, your wife, your girlfriend can dance freely. She can be free. And that's what you want. You want to be that guy that's going to be so protective, so robust, that women will flock to you because they want to be your partner for life. Okay, so you can see that relationships can get, we can really delve into it. And I'm going to share with you my ebook, The 4 Pillars, and it's just an introduction. But this is what men have to learn. I had to learn this myself, well, I made a couple of mistakes, to say the least, but I'm willing to share with you, and it's from my readings, about this topic. It's not just about graduating and having a job and buying a house. A lot of men have that, but they don't know how to approach women. They don't even know how to talk to women. Fortunately, it's not that hard. They don't know how to create a romantic atmosphere, and they don't know how to chart their future so that women will be excited and will say yes to their proposal. But you have to become the man first. You have to acquire skills and be knowledgeable and so on and so forth. So this is just to show you that in terms of relationship, it's very, very vast. So many things we can learn and have fun. But in this live stream, I just want to introduce to you what we're going to learn together at My Fellow Canadians. This is what I'm doing for 42 million Canadians. I don't want to exclude anyone. Now, depending on your age and your current life situation, maybe health is your priority. Maybe you're currently sick. Maybe you're overweight. Maybe you're too sedentary. A lot of people work in front of a computer. That's a problem. Maybe your problem is that you're not making enough money. Maybe your problem is that you're looking for love, but you don't find it. You're a woman and men court you, but they're not serious. Or you're a man, but you don't know how to meet women, how to talk to women. And this is kind of like a hidden challenge. Maybe you're not spiritual. Maybe you make a lot of money, but you don't understand spirituality. You haven't read any spiritual books. You have a belief against spirituality. Like, for example, you're an engineer, and for you, anytime you hear spirituality, for you it's woo-woo and you shy away from it. Maybe you can change your mind. But again, I'm not wanting to convince anyone of anything. But from my results and what I've been able to achieve and feel in my life, I'm very excited to share with you. For example, peace, it's what I'm able to achieve with my spiritual practice. And then in terms of relationships, it can be something else we'll explore. In terms of money, you have to have a definite outcome. So for me, it's I own my time. So a friend of mine was saying, well, Peter, like, what are you putting on your on the line in your tax file regarding income? Are you tracking that income? Is it increasing every year? And I'm going, dude, I don't fucking care, because I own my time. I own my time. Okay, excuse my French, but I own my time. So you have to know what it is that you're tracking. If you're not tracking the ownership of your time, because in my case, 100%, I own my time. And if in your case, you say, I want to own my car or house, or I want to have a, you know, a net worth of, if your target is a net worth of, let's say, I don't know, 1 million, well, that's fine. Like I said, you know, this is just me, because freedom is my one of my 5 key values. But for you, if you want to own your car because you like driving, or you want to own your house, you know, you want to host parties, or you want to have a net worth of 1 million, that's totally doable. But I can only teach you what I've been able to do myself, right? And other people will help you with that. I have another friend who's able to do options trading, but it's up to him if he wants to share it. And I think he's making like 2K per month, you know, but it's up to you. You know, you don't have to share. It's just that if you're Canadian, you know, it might be nice for you to share with other Canadians. So these are outcomes that you want to aim for. Okay. Here, in terms of relationship, it depends. You know, if the outcome you want in a relationship is stable marriage, right? You want eventually to marry a woman, or these days, you know, 2 men can get married, I think. Or if your goal is, you know, adventure, well, that's a different goal. You know, you might want to date a lot of people and you're not ready to settle. Well, that's adventure. You still need help with meeting other women, okay, or other men. If your goal is an affair, I don't recommend that, because I'm morally repulsed by the idea of disloyalty. Well, that's up to you. You know, I don't know, maybe karma is going to catch up to you, but I'm not really into affair. If your goal is just, you know, just seeing what's out there, so you're not really ready for a relationship, but you know, you're just joining dating websites, and just to see like if people still find you, a woman still find you attractive, you know, what kind of text they're sending to you, and so on and so forth, right? So it depends on your objective for each of these 4 key areas. There's no right answer or wrong answer. Like for me, now my spiritual outcome or objective is peace. But maybe before, and that's probably a mistake, maybe before it was just understanding. And, you know, it's really amazing that depending on what you're aiming for, you will get it. So my goal for spiritual search and readings was understanding. So I understood a lot of things spiritually, but I don't think I ever felt peace. I felt peace sometimes, you know, with Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch. It's a great book series where he's having a conversation with God. Very interesting. I understood a lot of things, but it's only recently that I've been able to achieve peace. And peace, like I said, it's not a little thing. When you achieve peace, it is so awesome that you want to share it with other people, because peace is better than happiness. So peace is better than happiness because nobody can take away your peace. But if you say, you know, I'm happy with my marriage, my wife is wonderful, my husband is wonderful, I'm happy. Well, you know what? One day you can get a divorce. You just don't know, right? I'm happy with my job, but you know what? Your employer can take away your job. Or if I'm happy because I have a successful business, well, you might lose your business one day. You never know. But when you have peace, that's it, man. You have peace forever. You know the trick. It's a little bit like know how to ride a bike. Once you learn it, you can ride any bike. You can hop on any bike and just go wherever you want to go. So for me, that was a major milestone. You know, I want peace. A lot of people don't want peace, and they can become aware that maybe that's what they want. Like some people might say, oh, I have a noisy neighbor and I can't stand it. Or, you know, I'm going out there and, you know, the single women might complain. Actually, I have a friend, she complained, oh man, in Montreal, they don't commit. Well, even if they don't commit, do you have peace with that? If you're at peace with it, you can do anything. Or you have other people who might have gone through traumas in their childhood or past relationships, but if they can view those events in a new light with a new interpretation, then they will achieve peace. So it's very important to achieve peace, because unless you have peace to whatever extent you cannot have a vision for your future, because it's like you're too disturbed. You don't have a vision. So in a way, we can almost say that spirituality or personal development or peace is like the precondition. It's the precondition for you to have a good relationship. It's a precondition for you to master the money game. It's the precondition for you to begin to control your health. Because if you don't have peace and you're stressed, well, you're not going to make money. You're going to be stressing your customers and your employers and coworkers. You're not going to have the peace required for health, because health involves, making efforts every day. And so, anyways, I'm going to stop my ranting on spirituality, but I just wanted to let you know that spirituality development has been one of the biggest, what you call it, biggest milestone in my life. Okay, so moving on, um, we have the outcomes that we want in each of these four areas. So in terms of health, what is the outcome that you're expecting or that you're aiming for? Because the objective you're aiming for is going to determine everything that you do. So for some people, I just want to be healthy, meaning that no sickness. And for others, it might be like vitality, exercise, sports, etc. So it's really up to you. So guys, I'm going to end the live stream now, but I just wanted to introduce to you, the basic curriculum at My Fellow Canadians. And, over the next 20 years, we're going to learn together. We're going to become healthy Canadians, wealthy Canadians. We're going to be Canadians in love and socially in harmony. And we're going to be Canadians on the path to personal and spiritual development. All right, guys, thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next live stream.